Next session is Diego and Tom Statura with a report out from the TAC. I don't know how many people are aware of the TAC, but I kind of think of it as the furnace where ideas get annealed for future development in the OFA. So Tom, Diego?
Okay, so we're going to talk about the TAC here. I had a small commercial about it yesterday, and actually I'm realizing I didn't need to do that because the audience is still full. So this is great. So I'm happy to see everybody still here. So I'll go through this one really quick, but again, what is the TAC? So Technical Advisory Council, and the fine print that defines our charter. And actually, when we define this, we put it directly next to the OFA charter, and maybe I should have put that in because there's some real stark differences between that. But as far as the TAC charter, we want to be investigating the new technology trends that are happening. We want to review the needs of the end user markets, applications, and the technologies that are coming. And we also believe that it's in our charter to maintain the relationship with the standards bodies. So, and it works out really well with the IBTA. A lot of the members that are part of the TAC are also members within the IBTA, and Diego wears both those hats on a weekly basis. So that works out really well, and I think we're doing a good job there. But again, I said it yesterday, I think the key thing that we view our charter as is to find these growth areas. Right, so Diego said it in his last presentation that the world's not standing still. There's lots of change, and we look at our job to live within that moment of change and try to find the things that we need to be working on as a TAC. So, and by the way, those it's important to note that those aren't just revolutionary or greenfield ideas. I mean, there's plenty of those because those come to mind top of mind. But there's quite a bit of evolutionary work as well. I'll talk about some of the examples on that on the next page. So we meet twice a month, and there's about a dozen of us to get together. This is open to anybody who wants to participate. We tend to keep it, although the work group is not strictly enforced to be OFA members only, that tends to be the way it's going, except when we bring in experts to get the knowledge that we don't have on a particular topic. So a great example is, and I'll talk about this one in a few slides, but we did a deep dive on cloud, and we are fortunate to have a few members, especially Bhavesh, who talked from VMware a couple days ago, is one of the active members there. But we had several other companies come in and talk to us, and they're not members. So when we're not smart about something, we want to get the experts in the room and have that discussion. So that happens a lot. But I want this to be a call out to everybody here. If you think that you can contribute and participate and help us on our vision here, send me a note and my email address is right there. At the simplest form, what I do is send out an agenda. Usually a couple days before. Sometimes I've been known to send it the night before, but send an agenda out of what we're going to talk about. And so, if I have you on the list and you're interested, you can look at the agenda and say, maybe I'll attend, maybe I won't. So, and I don't have a problem growing the list in that regard. But the thing I will say is, if you do send me your name, my expectation is that you are going to participate. So we are looking for people who have the technical drive there and want to help us figure out where we're going. So, but please send me your name if you're interested. Okay, so some of the things we've done. I talked about this yesterday, but I want to go just another layer deeper. So first of all, the first bullet here that we delivered was vetted the new ULPs and proposed some OFA synergies. So a good example of this that was PGAS actually was Fraunhofer came in, and I think they spoke at last year's workshop on GASP. But this was yet one of those things that comes up, and we say, okay, what do we do with? And guess what? The TAC gets a lot of we don't know how to handle this. Can you guys go figure this out? Which is okay. But anyway, Fraunhofer came in and said, we really like to get our PGAS implementation closer tied to OFED and even hosted on the OFA website. So So we went and looked at it, and actually this was probably the early start of how do we bridge out from our conventional lines of OFA and OFED? And we saw this as a great opportunity. So what we said was, let's work with these guys. Let's also expand our breadth. It can't be just one PGAS implementation. We have to make sure we're addressing all of them. And it can't just be PGAS. So how do we bridge this gap to all the different ULPs that we that we really think OFA and OFED can help and assist in? So, but that was one good example of something that came into us and sparked our thinking on what to do. It really led into the next bullet here, the analyzing of the I/O needs for applications. And Paul showed you some of the charts on Monday morning that showed how we regrouped a lot of these applications from the conventional OFA stack diagram. And that was the work that happened in the TAC. So we debated and hemmed and hawed about that for a long time and said, is this right? And I think it started as a simple question, quite honestly. I think it was, should we revamp this OFA stack? And I remember Rupert asking it because he's been kind of the maintainer of it and said, I can make some updates. And Paul said, no, should we be redoing this and looking at this a different way? And that's what started it. And so I would say, in the TAC we get a lot of these, amorphous, nebulous ideas, and then we figure out, is there any substance of that? Is there anything we need to do? And some of them get dismissed, but this is an example of one that spun forward. And the net result is that third bullet, as the OFIWG finally got to enough form that we decided it was right to get better technical experts than us to get in a room and actually start working this forward and develop this framework. But I think this is the one I'm going to hold up as the poster child. If we can do this, once or twice a year, then I think that we're going to have tremendous success as the Technical Advisory Council. So I'd like to hold up the OFIWG as a great example of an incubation that we were able to foster within the TAC and drive forward out. So that being said, there's other things that we've been working on, and I'll just do a quick highlight of what they are. And these are probably the ones that we haven't gotten to as good a success state as the OFIWG, but we are worried about them and we are looking at them. So number one is we're looking at storage at a distance. I heard Paul say that in one of his chats on Monday as well, that this one keeps coming up, and so we honestly, we haven't figured out what to do with it yet, but it is something that we are addressing and discussing. The next one is one that we've started some work on, and I actually have some good next steps to report on this one, is cloud and virtualization relevance to OFED. So, and to me, this one's a big one. This one's close to my heart because I see, everything's got the cloud buzzword on it these days, and we saw some great talks from Bhavesh and from Tom Talpe, where you can see that RDMA is really becoming used in the cloud these days. So this is great, But what have we done enough? Are there other things we should be doing? So we have some focused effort there that I'll talk about in a slide. And then the last, but certainly not least, is the exascale scalability. So we heard from Dr. Sterling Sunday night about there's still lots of challenges there, and you heard from me and throughout a lot of the other presentations over the last 2 days, the verbs work that we're doing, there's still things to be done there. So we've got to keep working on this one because that is the place we want to reach to on HPC. That's where we need to get to the finish line. So more work for us to do there. Okay, so in simple form, where are we going? So I want to put on the table that I think there are 3 big ones that we need to attack. And there will be lots of small ones, and I have a few of the small ones that we know there. I'm sure that there will be half a dozen other ones that are thrown at us and say, like I said, we don't know what to do with this. Please help us, TAC. But the 3 that I think we really need to invest in and figure out how to deliver on are Number one, improving the verbs. So I talked about that yesterday. I'll just flash up the same slide I showed yesterday, but we need to figure out what the next steps are there. And I think we're in a spot where the TAC can actually help drive that and figure out what the next steps are. The second one is OFA in the cloud. So I just talked about that one. I'll give you more detail. And the last one, which is a new one for us, and I think we're really just starting to figure out where the path up this mountain is MVM. So what's the relevance with MVM? And actually, I was really waiting for the workshop to help us get our thinking better around this, and had some good chats with Doug offline through the breaks. But there's real work to be done here. There's real synergy, I think, in this opportunity, and hopefully you guys saw that in the MVM talks that we had. I think they were Monday, but they might have been Monday and Tuesday. And again, I said storage at distance keeps coming up. Object storage is another one that's, what does that mean for RDMA and high-speed networking? But and again, that list will grow. But the point I want to throw out here is I think that our focus over the next year is going to be predominantly on those top three. So I just want to do one slide on each of those top three. So this one was what I covered as kind of the conclusion slide yesterday. So for improving verbs, I think if we bucket it this way, and this was my attempt at trying to put these into bigger buckets, I believe the application impedance mismatch items really is going to be tackled by the OFI WG. So I want to leave that to their charter and let them kick back whatever they want the TAC to worry about. But it felt like there's lots of independent work going on the scalability fronts. I think I still haven't heard the scalable subnet administration talk, which will happen today. But there was lots of different chats that we had over the last couple of days addressing some pieces of these. And there were some great technologies that were thrown out as well, like the dynamic connections. So I think there's lots of great work happening in this space, but I do want to take it under the TAC advisement to figure out how do we move this forward so that we are making sure that Verbs does everything that all our consumers really need. On the cloud, so I hinted that we got a bunch of people together, and this was I have to admit, we have a lot of debate meetings in the TAC, but every few months there's like a diamond in the rough meeting where it's like your eyes open, and this was one of them. And so like I said, we go and get the right experts that can help us, and I'm sure the list is bigger, but the ones that we were readily able to identify for this meeting is we got some folks from Argonne, from IBM, Mirantis, and from VMware, and literally made it kind of a free form. Everybody take a turn and tell us what your problems are. So, and we really tried to purposely steer away from solution space. Don't come with a solution. Don't worry if you believe that this is insolvable. Tell us what you need, and let us try to crank on that and figure out what we need to do. And this is my summary that I came up with after listening to all of them, and I think we're aligned on the TAC that we believe these are the right ones. So the key points that we walked away with were, number one, sockets is prevalent in the cloud. So you can't ignore it. So you got to figure out something to do with sockets there. Number two is there's great high performance capabilities that we've been able to expose. You got to expose that to the apps. So and these are easy statements that are hard to implement, but like I said, we wanted to start with what's the problem statement. The third one was you have to provide this in a virtualized environment, and that's a nebulous term, so a little bit more clarity there is, think of things like VM migration, right? There's just an expectation when you virtualize that workload can move around. So harder to do with RDMA, and harder to do when you want to do, bypass the kernel, but it's an important feature for people who are using virtualization, so we can't ignore that. And then the last one was provide this in an SDN environment. And there was a good slide, I think it was in Bhavesh's talk, that showed where the conical form of SDN and what it means, and we've got to figure out how we fit into that. And by the way, SDN is very there's different definitions of it. I break it into two camps of that I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both, is network virtualization and traffic engineering. So, are you hiding the network from the guest, or are you engineering the path underneath? And there's probably an answer in both camps that we need to address as part of the solution. So anyway, the good news is I think we've just started down this path. We have identified the problem statements. The solution space is going to be hard. It's going to take us time, but we at least have a clear vision of where we need to work on. And right now we broke these down in the last TAC meeting and said, number one is actually being pretty well attacked by the OFIWG right now. And we heard, we saw the SMRC talk earlier. Our sockets as part of that effort in the OFIWG as well. So I think we're going to let that run in the OFIWG to not duplicate the work, and let them call on the TAC where they need help. But number 2 through 4 really aren't being addressed. So that's where we want the TAC to put some energy into this. So it gives you a good idea. So again, call for interest if this is in your expertise space. You're in cloud, you're in virtualization, you're in SDN, and want to participate. Send me a note and let me know, because we can use help here. There's not many. Finding the intersection of people who understand RDMA and cloud, it's a small intersection. So I think we've been more successful than I hoped, but this is a long haul for us. And then I gave you a hint at, this is a new one. So in all honesty, full disclosure, we haven't done anything here yet. So the TAC hasn't really addressed or even breathed a hint of we need to go do NVM. So this is the first time that I'm calling it out as a strategic direction that we need to work on. And we had some really good sessions. Actually, I said yesterday, but that might have been Monday. I'm losing track of the days. But we did the NVM as a disruptive technology, the storage class memory, and the NVM programming model. So what I think I heard, and I say I on purpose because I didn't vet these with everybody yet, so interested to know if you hear the same thing, was number one, that low latency NVM creates a real disruptive opportunity. Doug was showing, where it gets into those different hurdles of underneath this line, you don't or do not worry about blocking, and underneath this one, you're really kind of in the same domain as real memory, or as DRAM as we know it. So we're approaching those, and we need to worry about that. And I'll skip to the last bullet because I think, and then come back because I think it's important to bridge from here is this forum, this group breathes latency and high performance, and this is exactly what NVM is disrupting and enabling for the data center. So what do we want to do is say, hey, there's great synergy between high performance networking and NVM. Why wouldn't the OFA be the logical starting point to figure out if there's something to do here? So I don't know if it equals RDMA. I don't know if it equals something different, but certainly, we're the right people to go take the first stab at this. And the other part about this is, just going back to the middle bullet, is, the other thing I heard is we can expose NVM directly to the applications. In fact, I heard more forcefully, we need to extract the goodness out of it. And, that's really aligned to everything that we're doing here. The OFIWG is exactly looking at this from application down. We want to make sure we're doing that with NVM. So anyway, long story short, I think this is in our wheelhouse to go attack, and it feels like a great synergy. So I'm going to get the TAC moving on this year. I've already talked to Doug, and Doug has agreed that he can help us out and get the right people into the TAC to start from the top. What are the use models? Before we get into solution space, let's understand what problems, like I showed on the cloud front, that we want to solve. And he has some great ideas there already, and I want to get even more experts. So again, call for action here. If anybody has got expertise in this area, or somebody who's got expertise in this area, send me a note, because we want to start kicking this off, and we want to start with what are the problems we need to solve. And then that's it. So I wanted to give you just a snapshot of where we're going, what we're trying to do. But I thought I would open this up and also say, honestly, there's too much on our plate already. So I more ideas scares me, but I'd rather know what I don't know versus it hitting us over the head later. So if you guys think there's anything else that wasn't on the list, or if you think our list is wrong, or you think we need to add to the list, I want to hear what things we need to be working on. So any obvious ones that you guys know we need to be attacking. Something the train's coming and it's going to hit us if we don't figure out a way to get on it. Okay, we see it's a common message. Just send me the ideas. So if something comes across your desk and you say, "Oh wow, this is something the OFA needs to worry about in 3, 4, 5 years," that's what our job is to try to think about. So don't be afraid to just drop me an email and let me know. And by the way, the other thing that we do a lot, the last bullet here is who should we be talking to? In a lot of cases, one of the things that always happens is someone says, "Oh, you should talk to this person. They know a lot about this, and this is going to affect the OFA going forward." So if you know people that you think have good ideas that we should talk to, send them to me too. That's that's our job to pull the experts into our forums and have the discussions. And many of these will come and go, and we won't know what to do with them, or we'll see that they're irrelevant. But if we don't have the list and we don't have the context, then we can't get to that decision. Anything you want to add? Okay. Any questions, comments, issues to add to the table? Okay, thanks.